Let's get a reader on the top themes that drive markets this week. Peter McGuire joins us in studio from XM. Pete, welcome back to the program.
Good morning, David. Good morning, Andrew.
There's no shortage of things to go and discuss at the moment. We're just having a bit of a chat about what's going on with these China trade tensions. We're talking about Treasury wine estates, obviously.
Sure.
Thrown a curveball by the Chinese government late last week.
Yep.
Where does this end?
I don't know. You got that's only one of 7 commodities. I think I just made some notes. 107 to 212% tariffs slapped on Aussie wines. We've got $700 million worth of coal sitting in 60 odd boats off the shore of China. You name it. And is that the global strategy? They're doing wonderful work in Africa. And from an agricultural standpoint, no doubt that was their master plan to feed their nation with African lands. Are they going to do the same with raw materials? We understand the Mongolian situation and Russia with coal. Maybe that's the storyline.
Yeah, okay. So Australia's saying it's going to go to the WTO.
Yep.
To,
what do they do?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's assume that Australia can get its all alliances, in line against China. But yeah, exactly. What can they do?
What can they do? You've got 33% of your exports going to one market. So where are we? Were we too heavily, overloaded on that market? They've really played us very well as far as the strength of renminbi for the past 25 to 30 years, and possibly it's all coming home to roost. So that's just the storyline. I'm not sure how we play from here, what Morrison's prepared to do as far as the COVID inquiry. Was it again a function that came out of a Wuhan lab? No one's really talking about it, but I know Boris Johnson's rattling some cages and possibly he's going to come. Are we the first line of defence? Do other countries go down this pathway going into 2021? I'm not sure.
It's going to be definitely an area to keep an eye on. So much uncertainty still out there when it comes to the geopolitical tensions.
Absolutely.
Nearer term, start of a new month tomorrow.
Yep.
There's so many things to go and digest at the moment. I know we've got OPEC Plus, we've got RBA, we've got a whole bunch of data arriving.
Sure.
What's on your radar as the key?
I'm looking at OPEC today. They didn't do anything over the weekend, and we had an assassination on Saturday. I've got to get his pronunciation right. Fakhrazad. The Iranian scientist. Nuclear scientist.
Right.
Though they've had 4, when you put your mind back, 2010 to 2012, they knocked 4. Now, we understand that Netanyahu and MBS and Mike Pompeo were in Saudi last weekend, or the weekend prior. Let's just see how this rolls forward. Iran was a founding member of OPEC, so let's see if there's any, whether there's a deal put together. Possibly crude's been overbought, and maybe this is the time now to be short. It's had a little bit of a correction over the last couple of hours, so maybe there's a little bit further downside, and then we play into this today and tomorrow.
Just keeping on that thing very quickly, I saw a headline earlier today. So Jared Kushner is and his team is heading to Saudi Arabia and Qatar for talk. So no more information about that, but certainly very interesting given the timing.
Absolutely. From a geopolitical standpoint, I'm sure that things may ratchet up. I hope they don't, but obviously it's turning into a very, very large plan. Trump's agenda with the UAE and of course what he's done with Israel, piecemeal that together and pulling troops out. Let's hope it doesn't go down that pathway.
Yeah, keeping an eye on his legacy, you would think maybe the last hurrah as far as their foreign policy is concerned. Let's stay in the States, Peter, just as far as data we're looking at there. Of course, the background picture we're mindful of is the COVID numbers.
Yep, 205,000 yesterday.
Extreme risk to the economy. We do have non-farm payrolls out this week.
Yep. And they're going to underwhelm, and I think that what you'll do, it'll ratchet down to around about 6.8%. It's nowhere as strong as what we experienced, Andrew, in October, so November will be a little bit quieter. We're talking around about that 520,000 back from 638,000. So the next pathway is, what does the Fed do and where are we? We understand those bad COVID numbers. Q4 is going to be pretty shocking, not as bad as Eurozone, of course. And do we see a softness and continued softness as far as that US dollar? It's really very, very strongly traded to the downside, and that may continue.
We talked about crude. Copper is a really interesting one as well. No, it's at 7-year highs. Iron ore is near enough at 6-year highs. What's that telling you?
Well, it tells me copper, that's still a long way, David, from $12,000 a metric tonne. It's still, languishing around that 7,000. Iron ore's been a standout, and that's really been very, very strong for our miners. We understand the COVID numbers in Brazil, what impact, and there's only so many markets that are available to ship iron ore. Our shipping freights are so much cheaper than they are from Brazil, so it's played very favourably for us, and that strong industrial demand coming out of China hasn't backed down. So I noticed they haven't done anything with their iron ore. They've certainly knocked us on the head as far as coal, with 60 odd boats sitting off China's shores and saying from a customs standpoint there was an environmental issue with the coal. I would have thought it comes from the same mines. I don't know how you'd have different, maybe it's a different meterage. There's different issues with that, Andrew.
Certainly wouldn't stop them from getting the coke and coal imports that were at record high levels prior to that being announced. So obviously something wasn't right with that particular shipment. One to go and keep an eye on. Peter McGuire from XM, fantastic at your views.
Thank you,
Enjoy the
David.
rest of your week.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Peter.
Andrew.